My 29F fiancé, 31M, and I were planning a child-free wedding, but his mother invited 47 children anyway and told them there would be a kids zone with activities. When I uninvited them all, she showed up at my workplace to tell my boss I'm having a breakdown. Now my fiancé says I need to compromise. I'm writing this from a hotel room because I couldn't stand to be in the same house as my fiancé right now. I don't even know if we're still getting married at this point. I need to know if I've completely lost my mind or if my reaction is justified, because everyone in his family is telling me I'm unhinged, and my fiancé is wavering on whether to support me. Background: I've been with my fiancé Marcus for 4 years. He proposed 6 months ago, and we started planning our wedding immediately. We decided early on that we wanted a child-free wedding. This wasn't a casual preference. It was a firm decision based on several factors. First, our venue is not child-appropriate. We're getting married at a historic estate with a beautiful garden, but there are ponds, steep stairs, unfenced areas near a busy road, and priceless antiques everywhere. The venue coordinator specifically warned us that they've had issues with children at events before and asked us to seriously consider whether we wanted to allow them. Second, we're having an evening wedding with a cocktail hour, formal sit-down dinner, and dancing until midnight. The whole vibe we're going for is elegant and sophisticated. We're spending a lot of money to create a specific atmosphere, and crying babies during vows or toddlers running around during dinner speeches isn't part of that vision. Third, and honestly most importantly to me, we're spending over $200 per plate for dinner. Our guest list is already at our maximum capacity of 150 people. Every child we allow means an adult we have to cut, and we already had to make painful decisions about which friends and extended family members to invite. When we sent out save the dates 4 months ago, we were very clear. We addressed them specifically to the invited adults by name only. We included a note that said, "We love your little ones, but we've chosen to make our wedding an adults-only celebration. We hope this gives you a wonderful opportunity for a date night." We thought we were being polite but clear. Marcus's mother, Linda, called him the day she got the save the date. She asked if there had been a mistake, because surely we weren't excluding children from a family event. Marcus explained that no, it wasn't a mistake. We were having a child-free wedding. Linda said that was unfortunate and she hoped we'd reconsider, but she didn't push too hard at the time. Over the next few months, various family members from Marcus's side would occasionally mention the no-kids policy. His aunt asked if we could make an exception for her well-behaved children. His cousin asked if the no-kids rule applied to babies who wouldn't even know they were at a wedding. Each time, Marcus politely but firmly said no. This was our decision and we weren't making exceptions because that wouldn't be fair to other guests. I thought that was the end of it. We sent out formal invitations 6 weeks ago. Again, clearly addressed to adults only. The RSVP cards had a line that said, "We have reserved ____ seats in your honor," and we filled in the number based on the adults in each household. We thought we'd covered all our bases. RSVPs started coming back. Everything seemed fine. Then, 3 weeks ago, I was checking our wedding email account. We set up a shared one for planning purposes and saw an email from a company called Party Pals Entertainment. The subject line was Kids Zone Package for Marcus and Emma's wedding. I was confused. I opened it, and it was a confirmation email thanking Linda for booking their premium Kids Zone package for our wedding date. The package included 2 party coordinators, a bouncy castle, face painting, balloon animals, and craft stations. The total cost was $1,800, already paid in full by Linda. I felt sick. I immediately called Marcus at work. He was in a meeting, but I told his assistant it was an emergency. When he called me back, I read him the email. There was a long silence, and then he said, "What the fuck?" Marcus called his mother immediately. I was on speakerphone for the conversation. Linda answered cheerfully, and Marcus asked her what the hell she was thinking booking entertainment for children at our child-free wedding. Linda's tone changed instantly. She got defensive and said she was just trying to help. Marcus asked her to explain how booking a bouncy castle for a wedding with no children was helping. Linda said, "Well, Once people know there are activities for kids, they'll bring them. Nobody actually wants to get a babysitter if they don't have to. I'm making it easier for everyone. I couldn't stay quiet. I asked her if she seriously thought people would just bring uninvited children to our wedding. She said, "They're not uninvited, they're just not explicitly invited. There's a difference. And now that there will be things for them to do, it won't be an issue." Marcus told her to cancel it immediately. Linda refused. She said she'd already paid, and she wasn't going to waste $1,800. She said we were being ridiculous and unwelcoming, and that family weddings should include the whole family. Marcus said children were not invited, and that was final. Linda said, "We'll see," and hung up. I was panicking. I asked Marcus what "we'll see" meant. He said he'd handle it, that he'd make it crystal clear to his family that children were not welcome. He called several family members that evening to reiterate the no kids policy. Everyone he spoke to seemed surprised and said they understood. They'd already arranged babysitters. I thought maybe Linda had just been acting on her own weird assumptions and we'd cleared it up. I was wrong. So incredibly wrong. Last week, I ran into Marcus's cousin Sarah at the grocery store. Sarah has 3 kids under age 8. She saw me and waved enthusiastically, then came over to chat. She thanked me for changing my mind about the kids and said her children were so excited about the bouncy castle and face painting at the wedding. My stomach dropped. I told her there was no bouncy castle and no children invited. Sarah looked confused. She said Linda had called her 2 weeks ago and told her that we'd reconsidered and decided to make the wedding family-friendly. She said Linda had sent a group text to all the family members with kids, telling them that we'd set up a special kids area and encouraging them to bring their children. I asked Sarah if she still had the text. She pulled out her phone and showed me. There it was, a text from Linda to a group of about 20 people sent 2 weeks prior. Great news! Emma and Marcus have reconsidered and decided to welcome the little ones after all. They're setting up a special kids zone with a bouncy castle, face painting, and activities. Let's make this a real family celebration. Make sure to RSVP with your updated head count. I took a screenshot of the text with Sarah's permission. I was shaking with rage. I told Sarah that Linda was lying, that we had not reconsidered, and that children were absolutely not invited. Sarah looked mortified. She said she'd already told her kids they were going to the wedding and they'd been talking about it for weeks. I felt terrible, but I held firm. I said I was sorry for the confusion Linda had caused, but the wedding was still adults only. I left the grocery store and called Marcus immediately. When I told him what his mother had done, he was silent for a long moment. Then he said we needed to have a family meeting to sort this out. I said no. We needed to send a mass text or email immediately correcting the lie. He said that would humiliate his mother and we should handle it more delicately. I lost it. I said his mother had lied to his entire extended family, gotten children's hopes up, and potentially ruined our wedding head count and budget. Delicacy was not on the table. Marcus got defensive and said I was being harsh, that his mom had just been trying to help in her misguided way. I said that lying and deliberately going against our explicit wishes wasn't trying to help, it was sabotage. We argued for over an hour. Finally, Marcus agreed to draft a message to send to the family. He wrote something incredibly weak. "Hi everyone, there seems to have been some confusion about our wedding. Just to clarify, we're still planning an adults-only event. We know Mom was trying to be helpful, but we haven't changed our minds about the kids' policy. Thanks for understanding." I said that was completely inadequate. It made it sound like a miscommunication rather than deliberate deception. Marcus said he wasn't going to throw his mother under the bus. I said she'd thrown herself under the bus by lying. We compromised on slightly stronger language, but it still didn't call out the lie directly. Marcus sent the message. The responses were immediate and not good. Several family members said they'd already canceled their babysitters because Linda told them to. Others said their kids were disappointed. Linda herself responded to the group saying, "I was just trying to make things easier for everyone. I think you're making a mistake excluding children, but it's your wedding." The passive-aggressive martyr routine made me want to scream. But I thought at least now everyone knew the truth, and we could move forward. Then the RSVPs started changing. 5 families who'd originally RSVP'd yes changed to no. Marcus was devastated. These were his cousins and close family friends. When he called them to ask what happened, they said it was too difficult to arrange childcare now that they'd canceled their original babysitters, and it seemed like we didn't really want kids there anyway, so maybe it was better if they just didn't come. I was furious with Linda. Her lie had not only caused confusion and disappointment, but was now costing us guests and money. We'd already given final numbers to the caterer. But Marcus asked me to let it go. He said his mom had made a mistake and the family was handling it poorly, but getting angry wouldn't fix anything. Against my better judgment, I tried to let it go. Then, 4 days ago, Linda showed up at my workplace. I'm a marketing manager at a mid-sized firm. I was in my office when our receptionist called and said someone was there to see me. I went to the lobby and there was Linda, looking distraught. She asked if we could talk privately. I took her to a small conference room, assuming she was there to apologize. Instead, she sat down and told me she was worried about me. She said that my behavior around the wedding had become concerning, that I was being controlling and unreasonable, and that she thought I might be having some kind of mental health crisis. I was stunned. I asked her what she was talking about. She said that planning a wedding can be very stressful and sometimes brides lose perspective and become obsessed with having everything perfect. She said my insistence on excluding children from a family event was a red flag for concerning behavior, and my angry reaction to her, trying to help, was over the top. I told her that lying to the entire family about our wedding plans wasn't trying to help, and that I wasn't having a breakdown. I was justifiably angry at her deliberate sabotage. She teared up and said she could see I was really struggling, and she wanted me to know she was here for me, but I needed to get professional help before the wedding. I told her to leave. She refused. She said she couldn't leave in good conscience without making sure I was okay. At this point, I was making an active effort not to yell. I told her again to leave, or I'd call security. She looked hurt and said, "This is exactly what I'm talking about. This aggression isn't normal." I did call security. Linda left, but not before making a scene in the lobby about how she was just trying to help her future daughter-in-law who is clearly unwell. I was mortified. I went back to my office and tried to focus on work, but I was too upset. Then, an hour later, my boss called me into her office. She asked me if everything was okay at home. I was confused and asked why she was asking. She said a woman claiming to be my future mother-in-law had come to her office after I'd asked her to leave, saying she was very concerned about my mental state and wondering if my boss had noticed any concerning behavior at work. I wanted to die. Linda had gone to my boss, my actual boss, to tell her I was having a mental breakdown. My boss said she'd told Linda it was inappropriate to come to someone's workplace with those concerns and had asked her to leave, but she wanted to check in with me to make sure I was genuinely okay. I gave my boss a very brief overview of the wedding situation and Linda's boundary-violating behavior. My boss was sympathetic, but I could tell she was uncomfortable with personal drama bleeding into the workplace. She suggested I take the rest of the day off to deal with the situation. I did, and I felt like I'd been professionally humiliated. I called Marcus and told him everything. He was angry at his mother and said he'd handle it. He called Linda, and apparently they had a huge fight. She cried and said she really was worried about me, that my behavior had been erratic and concerning, and she was just trying to do the right thing. She said going to my workplace might have been crossing a line, but she didn't know what else to do, because I wouldn't listen to her. Marcus told her she was out of line and needed to apologize to me. She said she'd apologize if I apologized for overreacting. That evening, Marcus came home and sat me down. He said we needed to talk about compromising. I asked what he meant. He said that maybe we should consider allowing children at the wedding after all. That it would solve all the problems with his family, and maybe his mom had a point that family weddings should include everyone. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I said absolutely not. We'd made this decision together, for good reasons, and I wasn't going to reward his mother's lying and boundary crossing by giving her what she wanted. Marcus said I was being stubborn and making things harder than they needed to be. I said he was being spineless and letting his mother manipulate him. The argument escalated quickly. Marcus said I was being inflexible and causing unnecessary family drama. I said his mother was causing the drama, and he should be supporting me, not her. He said he was trying to keep the peace. I said keeping the peace by letting someone steamroll our boundaries wasn't peace, it was surrender. Marcus said that if I wasn't willing to compromise, maybe we should postpone the wedding. I asked if he was seriously suggesting we postpone our wedding because I wouldn't let his mother dictate our guest list. He said that's not what he meant, but clearly we weren't on the same page about important things. I told him he was right. We weren't on the same page. I was on the page that said we set boundaries and enforce them, and he was on the page that said his mother got to do whatever she wanted without consequences. I packed a bag and left. I've been at a hotel for 3 days now. Marcus has called and texted multiple times. He's apologizing for suggesting we postpone, saying he was just overwhelmed and didn't mean it. But he's still saying we need to find some kind of compromise with his family. He suggested maybe we could allow children over a certain age, or make exceptions for out-of-town family. Each suggestion feels like a betrayal. Meanwhile, his family has been blowing up my phone. Linda has sent me a series of texts that alternate between apologizing for going about things the wrong way and insisting that she was just trying to help, and I'm overreacting. Marcus's aunt called me and said I was tearing the family apart over something trivial. His grandmother left me a voicemail saying she's prayed about it and God told her children should be welcomed everywhere. Several of Marcus's cousins have texted saying they understand my frustration, but maybe I should pick my battles, and this isn't the hill to die on. One of them said, "Is having a perfect aesthetic really more important than family harmony?" Another said, "Kids are only young once. Do you really want to exclude them from this important family event?"
My own family is split.
My mom thinks I'm right to hold firm, but worries I'm jeopardizing my relationship over it. My dad says Marcus should be standing up for me more strongly. My sister thinks I should compromise just to end the drama. My best friend says I should call off the wedding entirely because Marcus has shown he'll always prioritize his mother's feelings over mine. I'm questioning everything. Am I being a bridezilla? Is this really the hill I want to die on? We've already lost guests over this situation. My relationship with my future mother-in-law is probably permanently damaged. My fiancé and I are in the worst fight we've ever had. And the wedding is only 8 weeks away. Part of me thinks I should just allow the kids. It would solve everything. Linda would be happy, the family would stop giving me grief, Marcus and I could stop fighting. We'd have to rearrange seating and pay more for additional plates, but we could afford it. Maybe everyone's right that I'm being too rigid, but another part of me is furious that I'm even considering it. We made a decision together for valid reasons. Linda lied, boundary stomped, and showed up at my workplace to tell my boss I was mentally unstable. And now I'm supposed to reward that behavior by giving her what she wanted all along? What message does that send? That if she bulldozes us hard enough, she'll get her way? And what about our marriage? If Marcus won't stand up to his mother now, before we're even married, what happens after? Every time there's a disagreement, will he suggest I compromise to keep his mother happy? What happens when we have kids someday and Linda doesn't like our parenting choices? What happens when she doesn't approve of where we live or how we spend our money? I feel like this wedding situation is revealing something bigger about our relationship, and I don't like what I'm seeing. But I also love Marcus, and up until this situation, I thought we had a strong partnership. I don't know if I'm seeing his true colors, or if he's just handling family pressure poorly. Last night, Marcus came to my hotel. We talked for hours. He apologized again and said he's been torn between supporting me and not wanting to completely blow up his relationship with his family. He said he knows his mom was wrong, and he should have shut it down harder from the beginning. He said he loves me and wants to marry me, but he's scared of what this conflict is doing to us. I told him I was scared too. I said I needed him to be on my team, not playing mediator between me and his mother. He said he understood, but then asked if there was any compromise I'd be willing to make so we could move forward. I said the only compromise I'd consider was one that didn't involve allowing kids at the wedding, and he went quiet. He asked what other compromise there could be. I said Linda could apologize sincerely, cancel the kids' entertainment, and send a message to the family taking full responsibility for the confusion. He said asking his mother to publicly admit she lied and take full blame would humiliate her. I said she should be humiliated. She lied and showed up at my workplace. Marcus said I was being vindictive. I said I was being appropriate. He left shortly after, and we haven't really talked since beyond a few short texts. The wedding is in 8 weeks. We still have a child-free wedding planned, but we're down 5 families who changed their RSVPs. My fiancé and I are barely speaking. His entire family thinks I'm an unreasonable bridezilla, and I'm genuinely questioning whether this marriage is a good idea. I don't know what to do. Do I hold firm on the no kids policy and risk my relationship? Do I compromise to save my relationship and set a precedent that my boundaries don't matter? Do I call off the wedding entirely because of what this situation has revealed about Marcus's ability to set boundaries with his mother? Reddit, please help me. Am I the asshole for refusing to allow children at my wedding after my mother-in-law-to-be lied to everyone and said I'd changed my mind? Should I compromise to end the family drama? Am I overreacting to the workplace visit? Is this really worth fighting about, or should I just give in and let the kids come? I'm so tired and confused, and I don't trust my own judgment anymore. Everyone has such strong opinions, and I don't know who's right. I just need some outside perspective from people who aren't emotionally invested in this situation. Edit. Thank you to everyone who's responded. Reading these comments has been eye-opening. A lot of you are pointing out things about Marcus's behavior that I've been trying not to see. I think I need to have a serious conversation with him about whether he's ready to be married and create a family unit separate from his mother, or if he's always going to prioritize keeping her happy. I'm also seeing a therapist this week to work through my feelings about all of this. I'll update after Marcus and I talk.